So we're entering a bunch of new markets. We're trying. We're making sure that all of our products are extensible, and that includes Service Desk. So to tackle plugins and Service Desk, we have Brad Baker, software architect for Service Desk, who's going to cover a lot of things that don't quite exist yet, which is what software architects do. So without further ado, Brad Baker.
Hi. How are we? Can you hear me okay? Yeah? All right, good. So my name's Brad Baker. I'm the architect on the JIRA Service Desk team. I'm kind of unsure about the kind of target audience I have today. So JIRA Service Desk is a whole new market for Atlassian, and it's a market beyond our traditional development thing. So I've kind of pitched this today to be more high level and a little bit introductory. So for some people who's been hacking away on JIRA for like 7 years or something, you might be like, what? I've done that before. So in that regard, I apologise. But so just to show of hands, like who's ever written a P2 plugin for JIRA before? There's a few, yeah. Okay. Who's never written a P2 plugin? That's all the rest. Who's ever written extensions to Service Desk before? Anyone? Excellent, good. All right, well that means there'll be stuff that you can learn and so forth. Who is actually responsible for helping extend their Service Desk solutions? Either the one they've got previously or... Right, okay, excellent. All right, so yeah, like I said, Service Desk is a relatively new market, and even internally, it's been a really kind of crazy rollercoaster ride for us on the Service Desk team. A year ago, we had two guys in Poland and 3 of us in Sydney, and we sort of took the JIRA platform and we started to investigate the whole idea of going down the Service Desk market. And a year later, we've had enormous amounts of success. We've got a team in Vietnam and we've got a team in Sydney, and we've got about 40 people working for us now and so forth. So it's just been this sort of big whoosh along the way. And the great news is, because it's all built on JIRA, we start with a huge head start, right? We've got this extensive, large platform with a whole bunch of features and so forth. So we actually got this massive free kick. But what also has happened in the way is that in building out our solution from pretty humble beginnings, we honestly have not done it in the extensible way that now I wish we had, I guess because we didn't know we were going to have the success that we did. So we're moving into a phase now in development terms of basically going back and reviewing the way we're approaching our code and the API mechanisms that we're approaching our code. So if you ask today, basically our APIs are very thin, Service Desk specific, and it's going to frustrate you. But starting last month, actually the month before, we're actually starting to build out those APIs. So over the next 12 months, you'll actually start to see things appear, start to become more official API. And one of the key parts of that is that the APIs are your guarantees. Yeah, so your APIs, once we declare something that's API, we can only break it on major versions. Major versions don't come out that often. We just did a 2.0, so a 3.0 will be a fair way off and so forth. So, you know, when we do those APIs, we're giving you a guarantee that you can base your work on it, right, and have some guarantee that it will stay in that shape for a decent amount of time and so forth. So, so in that extent, we actually we don't create APIs lightly the other way because of the guarantee backwards, right? It costs effort and thought to do them, and so we want to be deliberate about how we're going to extend those APIs and making meaningful and so forth. So the other question I have, throughout this talk, there'll be a secret question at the end, and there'll be a bonus t-shirt for someone who actually gets closest to the right answer. And you should be able to figure out from the talk what the bonus question is going to be. It's got a theme. So the other hands up question I've got is, who has enough time to do help desk stuff? Like you just, empty queues, not much going on, kind of stuff, right? No help desk ever has enough time or have enough people, right? There's always an unlimited amount of stuff that's going to come in, right? And jobs and so forth. And so one of the big things I think, if you ask yourself about why you want to extend your service desk and why you want to use these APIs and build integrations and so on, right, is what are the reasons you want to do that? And the reasons we think that a lot of people are going to want to do and extend their service desk is you need to scale your team to be effective, right? There's more work than you have time to do, right? And the whole idea of much of the extensions we think you guys should do is to help scale your team so they can do a great job in servicing their customers, yeah? And out of that scale is how you will actually turn small teams able to service large amounts of customers. And of course, basically that means automation, yeah? And the way that the tickets come into the system, right? And actually scaling the work that you do, right? Plenty of service desk teams do classic automatable jobs, around reset password and add person to group and add me to this mailing list and so forth, right? Those opportunities are where teams can actually become quite powerful by having those automated, right? And by having those things in place, and so that the work that you do is those really sort of harder bits of work to do that are going to take more human effort and so forth. The other thing about Service Desk as a platform, and the JIRA platform that backs us, is that although we come out of the box with a series of standard ways to get started, we'll give you standard projects and stuff, really it's all about your Service Desk your way. You can define your workflows and your data elements and the events that sort of happen and the sort of timelines and SLAs and so forth, right? They're all there because it's your team that is uniquely going to work in a certain way that suits your organisation, right? And so those facilities are there to allow you to define the workflows and the processes that you're going to use that best fit your team, right? Your evolution, whether you're particularly highly skilled or whether you're a starting team, whether you're a growing company or whether you're coming from a place that has a really set way of doing things and so on. You can take this solution and shape it to the way you do work. And those constructs that we have for you, right, much of it from the JIRA platform and new things coming from JIRA Service Desk built on top of it, are the way to do it. So if you're not familiar with it, things like workflows, different issue types, custom fields, the ability to store different data items and so forth, the JIRA Service Desk request types, ways to capture data at the central portal and so forth. All those elements and service level agreements, SLAs, you'll see everywhere, are ways for you to really reflect the way you guys want to work in your organisation. The other key to having a really scaled team is to measure it, right? Measure it to manage the work that you're doing, right? There's not enough time, there's too much work. The way you get better at it as a team and to scale and become powerful teams is to measure that work. So people are asking for the ability to extract information out of the tickets and processes that we're doing, pull them into your business intelligence system of choice, right? And start to really look at the data that is happening, ticket completion rates, the types of data and so forth, right? They're the integrations that are really going to make powerful teams to gain insight into the fact that, our latest Cisco routers are just absolutely caning us in terms of the number of network issues and so forth. You start to see those patterns, right? And the impacts on the teams from, servicing them and actually providing great service, right? JIRA and Service Desk has a series of REST APIs that you can start to extract that issue information out and push them into your BI systems. The other thing is, I think is really important and a great feature of Service Desk is actually knowing when to act, right? What is the things I should do now and what are the things that I should do later? Because doing the things that you decide are the most important is actually how you become a powerful team and how you give great service to your customers. To that extent, JIRA Service Desk has a series of service level agreements, SLAs, and they're a way to define the criteria that you have decided as a group to decide which tickets are the most important and which ones should be done next. SLA information is programmatically available from the REST APIs. So again, you can actually write integrations out there in your existing apps or new apps and so forth that would actually allow you to sort of get insight into the patterns in which you're working. One thing I will say is SLAs are, for some people, they're like a second level process you want to get to. So for a lot of people moving to a service desk solution, you want to start off with the whole idea of having a well-defined ticket workflow and coming in. And then the next step after you sort of get used to that as an organisation is to start defining SLAs, potentially defining ones that are only meaningful to you with high numbers and so on, to help you doing it before you actually get into service level agreements with your customers and so forth. So I say up front, the Service Desk API is evolving. It's thin at the moment. You'll look through it. We actually have extensive REST endpoints that are not API. Some of you will be tempted to say, well, they do it in the portal like this, so I'll just use that. Those REST resources we've built and so forth have been eminently suited to our front-end portal, and they are not API. We do not give the guarantee on them at the moment. Now, I regret that in hindsight because we've come to this successful place. So people will use those things. I just have to give you the warning that they're not the ones that you're going to get the API guarantees on. Right? So they're there, and entrepreneurial types will take advantage of them, but know that they're not the ones that you're going to get the guarantees on. That's what we're trying to build in the next phase, starting a couple of months ago. But that said, these sort of opportunities is your chance to influence the shape of the kind of information that you want to get from your service desk. So, we've got our bit.ly.ask Atlassian question sessions, and in fact, if you're really strongly about it, you can just call it out, I don't mind. And to really give us key feedback about the kind of information you would like and the kind of information that you just absolutely want to know from your service desk solution to help your teams. But the good news is the whole thing's built on JIRA. Yeah, this is how we got, I think, such great success in such a short time. And JIRA is huge. I've worked in and around JIRA for the last 7.5 years. It still blows me around that there's just so much to it. And that base that you get from that means that as a combination, JIRA Service Desk is actually a very complete platform and very complete system in place. So it has large amounts of in-process APIs, it has large REST APIs, it has SOAP if you're really keen, and we're also building out new plugin frameworks and so forth for our on-demand offerings and so forth. So the story that is JIRA and the success story of JIRA, Service Desk is an evolution of that as well. So there really is a lot available today, and then we'll be building that in the future. So I talked earlier about our various things. The constructs we have are Service Desk specific. We're actually building out some more. So the reports are going to become pluggable within Service Desk. Email handling is starting to take shape now. We're actually in the early days of working out through some more extensible email handling, so you'll be able to plug in custom ways to actually accept channels, email channel of information, and cause that to come into the Service Desk in a specific way. The other big thing that's happening in the immediate future is we're really trying to bring out what we call knowledge-centric help desks, and that will involve our knowledge base integration to Confluence, and so JIRA plus Confluence will give you actually a help desk solution that really helps people either self-serve or as you as an organisation to slowly build up the knowledge bases and the knowledge about what the problems are out there in your particular organisation, building those up and then having the system actually able to suggest problems based on reports and so forth back. And they are things we are actively working on. Of course, there are no guarantees about when anything of this is coming. It can only lead to disappointment. We get quite disappointed about the fact for various things, and you'll probably be even more disappointed. So we are working on these things, but no timeframes about when they'll be available. So if you haven't used the JIRA platform before, it's probably one of the most extensible platforms that I've ever worked on before. It's the opposite of opinionated software in some way. It's a good and bad thing. but there really is a just massive amount of API and constructs there to allow you to set up the service desk that shapes your organisation. Workflows are probably the most important about the type of interactions that you want your teams to follow and how you can define it, and they in themselves are extensible. So you can actually start to add data at key points in the workflows and so on. Custom fields are probably the next most important thing, the ability for you to store data beyond the basic ones that JIRA gives you. And you can write your own custom fields and so forth as well if you're super keen. And then, the user management, the system services, the ability to go to LDAP and so on. So those facilities are there in JIRA. There's a lot. It's confusing. It's possibly, in fact, it's very, but it's actually very powerful. So I think what you'll get with JIRA Service Desk and the JIRA platform is actually a very, very powerful platform to build your Service Desk applications on and build out a powerful team servicing your organisation. There's sort of two broad categories of APIs that you should consider when you're looking to extend Service Desk and so forth. The way I try to split them is that if you're looking to do integration between, there's a JIRA Service Desk and there's our other line of business application or our Salesforce or some CRM system and so forth. To me that you're looking at an integration style situation, then you're going to want to look at things like Atlassian Connect and the REST APIs that back it. They're the areas you're going to want to do for that sort of integration thing into outside systems. Yeah, that's the starting point. If you're looking for extension of the service desk itself, like the JIRA Service Desk solution you have, then you want to start looking in process. It's more difficult, but it allows you to fundamentally change the way Service Desk works for you and works for your team and so forth. So and again, so that's about extending Service Desk from the inside as opposed to integrating it with people on the outside. So who's heard of Connect, Atlassian Connect particularly? Yeah, so a few, and not a lot for you. So on demand, actually now called Cloud, Atlassian Cloud. It's really, really growing. I think 66% of new starters are starting with the cloud solutions from Atlassian. Connect is our new plugin platform that basically allows you to write extensions and so forth that run out of process. And the fundamental reason they run out of process is that in a hosted SaaS world, 55,000 instances and counting today, you can't have third-party code running inside the process and provide a stable and reliable platform. We started to do that in the early days of on-demand, which then is now called cloud, and we realised that it's just not going to scale. We're not going to be able to offer a stable platform. Connect is the way to allow you to write extensions, Connect plugins, that are able to run in a sandbox model inside the on-demand world. And that's really our future. I think that's where the most development effort from the ecosystem and so forth is coming from. So if you don't know about Connect, go and find out some more information from developer.atlassian.com. Get involved. There's a whole series of plugins. I think there was 40 odd plugins now available for Connect and so forth already, mainly for JIRA. But it's starting to grow, and that's going to be our focus over time. Today, JIRA Service Desk is light on Connect, so the ability to do extensive Service Desk specific things. But again, we are trying to build that out over time. Everything in Connect is actually based on the idea of HTTP and hence REST. Right? And so whether you actually build Connect plugins to do integrations or whether you do your own hand-rolled integrations into your systems of yourself, REST is the way you're going to want to do that. So, gets, puts, and so forth, HTTP verbs against JIRA and Service Desk kind of thing. They're always, all the REST APIs are available in BTF and on demand, so the same code can actually share much of the same characteristics. They're a lot easier to use than deep diving into the Java API and the in-process API and so forth. And like I said before, they're all about the integrations of pulling stuff in. The other thing that's the corollary to asking for information from REST is to pull it in from webhooks. And they're basically things that have happened inside JIRA that are telling you about things that have happened inside JIRA and are pushing it out to your integration app. So issue creation events might end up telling you another system and so through via webhooks. Looking down at my time, I've actually gone on further than I thought. But so we talked about the Java API, deep devil things. Really, like I said, we're in the early stages, and we're very, very interested to hear the kind of use cases that you have. I don't know if you caught a talk yesterday from Dan Horsfeld and Nikki Wynn about how they used Atlas Desk, and they built a tool called Automaton, which allowed them to scale their Atlas Desk internal, the Atlas IT internal system. And really, what the story I loved about it was that our security team said that we're going to move some services behind a firewall, and everyone would need VPN. And then 300 people filed tickets like over the next 2 days to get VPN. And the use case they chose as their beta thing for their Automaton tool was maybe self-generating VPN keys. And they didn't mean it to happen, and they got 300 tickets in 2 days, and they all got self-generated, right? And they avoided the fact that they were going to sit down for the next 2 weeks and do nothing else but generate VPN keys. So that kind of scale from integrations is the sort of place that you want to get to really help you build powerful teams. So that's what I have today. Hopefully we have a lot of questions. I'll go through them now, or is it past time probably? I'm past time. Yeah.
Can we give it up for Brad?
All right.
So.